St. Lucie Mets first baseman Peter Alonso connects for a two-run double in the second inning against the Florida Fire Frogs at first data field. Jasen Vinlove-USA TODAY Sports. Mets 1B prospect Peter Alonso has started the season on fire for Double-A Binghamton. The 23-year-old Alonso, who has homered in his last 4 games, hit .5, 45, .667, .1, .136 with 1 double, 4 HR, 8 RBI, and 8 walks last week. Alonso's plus raw power has long been his carrying tool, wrote Ben Badler for BA on Monday. He hit well last year in the high Class A Florida State League, but he's showing signs of becoming an even more complete hitter in 2018. He's off to a scorching .403, .500, .778 start with 7 home runs in 88 plate appearances. He doesn't strike out excessively and he's displaying more plate patience than he did a year ago, with 14 walks in 20 games this year compared to 27 in 90 games last year. Alonso played 11 games for Binghamton last season after playing 82 games for High A Street. Lucie. In his 3-year minor league career, Alonso has hit .311, .384, .571 with 30 HR in 143 games across 3 levels. Dominic Smith is still ahead of Alonso on the depth chart, and hitting .286, .409, .429 with 2 HR and 21 games this season for Triple-A Las Vegas. Alonso should not be overlooked. He's got a chance to be a prototypical slugging first baseman, Mets director of minor league player development Ian Levin told MLB.com's Anthony DiComo this offseason. He has elite raw power and has shown consistent ability to use it in games, and his overall ability to hit should allow him to continue to progress. John Sickles of Minor League Ball wrote in February that Alonso doesn't strike out much for a home run bet. Sickles added that Alonso needs to improve his defense at first base, but that his past defensive rep was positive, so the glove will hopefully improve. If Alonso continues to excel with Binghamton, a promotion to Las Vegas at some point this season should be on the table. April 18, 2018, New York City, New York, USA. New York Mets third baseman Todd Frazier, 21, celebrates his 2-run single against the Washington Nationals during the 8th inning at Citi Field. Mandatory credit, Brad Penner. USA Today Sports. Brad Penner, Michelle Ioannou, Mets blog. Twitter. I was not the biggest bring Todd Frazier to the Mets advocate during the offseason. Yes, I knew we needed a starting third baseman, that was never a debate. I preferred Mike Moustakas over Frazier. But now that Frazier is here, I love him. I'm so impressed by what he has brought to this team, on the field, off the field, and in the clubhouse. A former Yankee coming to play in Queens? Hey, I know the business of baseball and things like that happen, but still. Is not always a good fit, and yes, this can be said of any rivalry, or any team. Plus, the last thing I wanted was thumbs down being brought to Queens. That is very much okay staying in the Bronx forever. Now, Frazier has brought the Mets together in a way that's fun and has kept them loose. Frazier comes into the Mets clubhouse, and not only brings his skills, but comes up with a celebratory, salt and pepper shake move for all of his teammates to do after a big hit so the entire team can celebrate together. Because that's what a team is, not just one guy celebrating his big hit because it's his, it's about a team celebrating the big hit because it's all of theirs. You win by working together, and celebrating together, and supporting each other, and that is what Frazier has brought to the Mets. New York Mets starting pitcher Zach Wheeler winds up during the first inning of against the Washington Nationals. AP, Danny Abriano, SNY.TV, Twitter. Lots of the talk before Zach Wheeler's start on Sunday against the Padres was about how the Mets' rotation was Noah Syndergaard, Jacob deGrom, and no one else who is reliable. And while Wheeler has always been, and still is, a roller coaster at times, he's pitched well this season. The results are there, and the advanced stats back them up, so, putting Wheeler in the same boat as Steven Matz, 4.98 ERA, 5.45 FIP, and Matt Harvey, who has been moved to the bullpen, is unfair. As is lumping him in with Jason Vargas, whose one awful start while returning from the DL shouldn't be leading anyone to draw conclusions anyway. Here are some key numbers for Wheeler so far this season. Left-hander Anthony Kay, courtesy UConn Athletics. Mets LHP Anthony Kay, the team's first-round pick in 2016, is pitching well in his first exposure to professional baseball after missing the past 2 years due to Tommy John surgery. Kay, who pitched at Stony Brook University and grew up on Long Island, had been rehabbing the past 2 years since undergoing Tommy John surgery in October 2016, but has made 4 starts with Low-A Columbia this year, going 1-1 with a 2.70 ERA and 18 strikeouts in 20 innings. He's worked hard at it, Mets GM Sandy Alderson told Newsday's Tim Healy. We'll probably be somewhat aggressive with him, at least initially, to get him back to about where he would have been absent the injury. April 25, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA, New York Mets starting pitcher Steven Matz, 32, pitches during the second inning against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry, USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry, Mets LHP. Steven Matz is not having a strong start to this season. And now that Zach Wheeler is doing well, and with the return of Jason Vargas pushing Matt Harvey to the bullpen, all eyes will be on Matz as the rotation's weakest link. Whether Matz gets his season back on track is going to need to wait, though, since it was announced this past weekend that the start he was supposed to make on Tuesday has been pushed to Saturday because of a stiff back. I just felt a little something in my back, he explained. June 19, 2017, Los Angeles, California, USA, New York Mets second baseman Gavin Cecchini, 2, hits a two-run home run during the fifth inning against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. Mandatory credit, Richard Maxson, USA Today Sports. Richard Maxson, Mets INF prospect Gavin Cecchini, playing for Double-A Las Vegas, was named the MLB Pipeline second baseman of the week after hitting .478, .500, .826 with 3 doubles, 1 triple, 1 HR, and 4 RBI in 5 games last week. Overall, he is hitting .347, .402, .547 in 21 games, 75 at-bats this season. Cecchini, 24, spent his offseason working on his swing and practicing new positions in an effort to increase his chances of finding a role on the Major League team. April 24, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA, New York Mets relief pitcher Matt Harvey, 33, pitches during the fifth inning against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry, USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry, for pitching coach Dave Island. The frustration from Matt Harvey over his move to the bullpen was expected, but blowing off reporters and cursing at them on one occasion wasn't. Island says Harvey is past that stage, though, as he looks to the positives of his reliever status. He's human, he told the Daily News' Christy Ackert. He's human. We like the way he's going about it now. I am not gonna lie, it took him a couple of days. He kind of went into the darkness a little bit, so to speak, but now he's come out of it and seen the light. April 4, 2018, New York City, New York, USA, New York Mets pinch hitter Wilmer Flores, 4, is congratulated after scoring a run against the Philadelphia Phillies during the sixth inning at Citi Field. Mandatory credit, Andy Marlin, USA Today Sports. Andy Marlin, Mets 1B. Adrian Gonzalez, who was born in San Diego and played 5 years with the Padres, had family in the stands all weekend. He sat the first 2 games of the series because of left-handed pitchers starting the games, so he was primed to have a much-needed, big day, and he delivered. Gonzalez erupted Sunday, driving in 5 runs as the Mets defeated the Padres 14-2 to win the 3-game series at Petco Park. He started April well, hitting .296 with a .4060 BP and 8 RBI through the season's first 10 games, during which he struck out in only 18% of his at-bats. Murray, Andy Martino, SNY.TV, Twitter. Adrian Gonzalez is about to lose playing time at first base to Jay Bruce, but the Mets view the move as a way to create at-bats for Brandon Nimmo and Juan Lagares, and not as a condemnation of Gonzalez's performance. And while the front office expects to huddle during Monday's off day to discuss a wide range of issues, Gonzalez's roster spot is not in jeopardy. Even before the first baseman broke out of a 1-for-17 slump and drove in 5 runs on Sunday, Team Brass was reasonably happy with Gonzalez's peripheral statistics. Jake Roth, Michelle Ioanu, Mets blog, Twitter. This week in Metsland we had a couple of birthdays, both mine and Gary Cohen. Whereas I was dying on my couch with a 103-degree fever watching the Mets forget how to play defense and losing in extra innings for my birthday on Thursday, Gary was serenaded and blessed with the Mets win for his on Sunday. Happy birthday, Garrett. Brad Penner. The Mets will push LHP Steven Matz's start back from Tuesday to Saturday due to lower back stiffness. Matt said he felt fine after throwing a bullpen session Sunday morning, but manager Mickey Callaway said the team didn't want him to risk it tightening up on the team's flight from San Diego back to New York and not having adequate time to plan ahead. Instead, Noah Syndergaard will start Tuesday and Jacob deGrom on Wednesday in the Mets series against the Atlanta Braves. Brad Penner. Though Mets RHP Matt Harvey has been publicly frustrated about his move to the bullpen, GM Sandy Alderson believes he is handling his transition well. Harvey has blown off reporters twice since making his bullpen debut Tuesday night, with his most recent incident having him curse at the media. Alderson, though, sees things differently when viewing Harvey's situation. "Have to recognize it's been a tough couple years for him and he's an emotional guy," Alderson said. "At the same time, I think he's accepted where he is and I would expect that he will work hard to take advantage of this opportunity to improve and just see how it goes." Michelle Ioanu, Mets blog, Twitter, "I agree with Sandy, it has been a tough couple of years for Matt Harvey. Being at the top of your game and then having to undergo major surgery after major surgery just flat out sucks. But you can't use that as a constant excuse for your attitude. You can't let life's obstacles keep you from accepting your job, and from being there for your teammates." Gonzalez's opposite field blast 0 hours 0 minutes and 53 seconds. Adrian Gonzalez goes the other way on his 3-run home run in the 7th inning to give him 5 RBI on the day and the Mets a 7-2 lead. Mets first baseman Adrian Gonzalez went 3 for 6 with a home run and 5 RBIs to break out of a slump, while the rest of New York's infield combined for 6 hits and 5 RBIs in Sunday's 14-2 win over the San Diego Padres at Petco Park. The Mets scored 5 runs in the 7th and 5 more in the 8th innings to turn a 4-2 lead into a 12-run rout, ending a 9-game road trip as they head home for a 3-game series against the Atlanta Braves. Gonzalez broke out of a 1-for-17 slump with a 2-run double in the 3rd inning and a 3-run home run off Jordan Lyles in the 7th to break the game open. New York Mets starting pitcher Zach Wheeler pitches during the 1st inning against the San Diego Padres at Petco Park. Jake Roth, USA Today Sports. Mets RHP Zach Wheeler struck out 9 batters in 5 innings in Sunday's 14-2 win over the San Diego Padres at Petco Park. Wheeler struck out 6 of the last 8 batters he faced as he won his first game since April 11. His 9 kiloseconds are his most in an outing since he struck out 10 Cubs on August 15, 2014. "I thought he looked really good," manager Mickey Callaway told reporters after the game. Cadillac post-game extra 0 hours 1 minute and 47 seconds. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez discussed the importance of the Mets' blowout victory against the Padres in San Diego on Sunday afternoon. For a full box score of the game, click here. Things you should know about today's game. 1. Adrian Gonzalez homered and drove in a season-high 5 runs, and 9 Mets had at least 2 hits on their way to scoring a season-best 14 runs. Todd Frazier and Jose Reyes went deep, and his Drupal Cabrera drove in 2 runs as the Mets scored 10 times in the 7th and 8th innings to break open a 4-2 game. New York Mets left fielder Yoenis Cespedes slides safely into third with a stolen base as San Diego Padres third baseman Christian Villanueva applies the tag during the 3rd inning at Petco Park. Jake Roth, USA Today Sports. Mets outfielder Yoenis Cespedes left Sunday's game against the San Diego Padres in the 3rd inning with a sore left thumb. Cespedes appeared to suffer the injury while sliding into third on a stolen base. He stayed in to run the bases, but manager Mickey Callaway replaced him with Brandon Nimmo before the bottom of the inning. Joe Puitz, April 5, 2018, Washington, D.C., USA. New York Mets right fielder Jay Bruce, 19, jogs up the first baseline after hitting a grand slam off Washington Nationals relief pitcher Brandon Kinsler, not pictured during the 7th inning at Nationals Park. New York Mets defeated Washington Nationals 8-2. Mandatory credit, Tommy Gilligan, USA Today Sports. Tommy Gilligan, Jay Bruce has dusted his first base glove off recently to take reps before games, and the Mets will reportedly be using him there in at least one game this week, reports Mike Puma of the NY Post. Bruce said before the season that he didn't expect to get time at first base unless it was an emergency, but GM Sandy Alderson said the team would be comfortable using Bruce there on a near-everyday basis if needed. Danny Abriano, SNY.TV, Twitter. Gonzalez isn't hitting for average, he isn't getting on base at a decent clip, and he isn't hitting for power. His .317 slugging percentage is putrid, and him playing regularly at this point is untenable. I was of the opinion that Gonzalez shouldn't have been signed in the first place, but at least the Mets are seemingly willing to be proactive at first base due to his struggles, and due to Nimmo's tremendous production. New York Mets third baseman Todd Frazier talks to relief pitcher Jeurys Familia after the 8th against the Washington Nationals at Citi Field. Noah K. Murray, USA Today Sports. Mets closer. Jeurys Familia will miss the series finale versus the Padres on Sunday, 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time, as he will be attending a memorial service for his father-in-law, who passed away, according to MLB.com. Cadillac post-game extra 0 hours 2 minutes and 1 second. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez discussed the back end of the Mets' starting pitching rotation. Mets catchers talk injuries. 0 hours 1 minute and 39 seconds. Mets catchers Travis d'Arnaud and Kevin Plawecki talk about their injuries, which will cost d'Arnaud the season and Plawecki several weeks. Mets catcher Kevin Plawecki has begun throwing again after breaking his non-throwing left hand when he was hit by a pitch 2.5 weeks ago in Miami, according to the Record's Matt Ahilt. Ahilt also reported Plawecki has yet to catch yet during his rehab process. After the injury, Plawecki said he expected to return quickly. The injury was initially viewed as short-term, with Plawecki expected to return in as little as 2 to 3 weeks, according to SNY's Steve Jelbs. The Mets had given a time frame of 3 to 4 weeks, though Plawecki said that 3 weeks would be on the longer end of what he thought the rehab period would be. Jake Roth, April 24, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA. New York Mets right fielder Jay Bruce, 19, is congratulated by first baseman Adrian Gonzalez, 23, after hitting a solo home run off of St. Louis Cardinals relief pitcher Matt Bowman, not pictured during the 10th inning at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry. USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry. Before the Mets' 5-1 win against the Padres on Friday night, Jay Bruce was taking reps at first base, which could mean fewer at-bats for Adrian Gonzalez and more for Brandon Nimmo. This season, both Gonzalez and Bruce aren't off to the hottest starts. Gonzalez is hitting .203, .300, .322 with 2 HR and 12 RBI and 59 at-bats. Bruce is hitting .238, .307, .413 with 2 HR and 11 RBI and 80 at-bats. Cadillac post-game extra, 4/27, 0 hours 1 minute and 47 seconds. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez discuss another outstanding pitching performance by Jacob deGrom. Behind a brilliant pitching performance by Jacob deGrom and a big home run by Asdrubal Cabrera, the Mets took the series opener from the Padres, 5-1, on Friday night in San Diego. For a full box score of the game, click here. Lugo on move to the bullpen. 0 hours 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Steve Jelbs catches up with Seth Lugo to discuss how he's changed his approach on the mound since moving to the bullpen. April 9, 2018, Miami, Florida, USA. New York Mets first baseman Adrian Gonzalez, 23, celebrates after scoring a run against the Miami Marlins in the 7th inning during a MLB baseball game at Marlins Park. Mandatory credit, Steve Mitchell. USA Today Sports. Steve Mitchell, Doug Williams and Andy Martino try not to get lost as they go inside the mind of Matt Harvey in the latest episode of She Anything. They discuss Harvey's move to the bullpen, and if this could be the best way for him to get his mojo back. Later, the guys take a more serious dive into Keith Hernandez's Twitter account and dig deeper into Yoenis Cespedes' struggles at the plate. Click below to listen. Jeff Burke. The Mets made a few roster moves on Friday, including the recall of RHP Jacob Rame from Double-A Las Vegas, the team announced. With Rame joining the big league club, the Mets have optioned RHP Corey Oswalt back to Double-A. He was stellar in his MLB debut on Wednesday after coming in for LHP Steven Matz. Oswalt went 4.2 innings, allowing 2 earned runs on 2 hits while striking out 4. Rame has appeared in 4 games with the Mets this season. He has allowed 6 hits and 3 earned runs while striking out 2 and walking 1 over 3.2 innings. His last appearance with New York came on April 7 against the Nationals. New York Mets starting pitcher Noah Syndergaard flips his glove in the air as he walks off the field after being removed during the 8th inning of a baseball game against the St. Louis Cardinals. Thursday, April 26, 2018, in St. Louis. AP photo, Jeff Roberson. Jeff Roberson, AP. Thursday's 4-3 loss to the Cardinals was difficult to swallow, especially since the Mets are now 2-4 on this road trip, 4-7 during their last 11 games, and have dropped 3 consecutive series. Closer Jerry's Familia has blown 3 of his last 5 save opportunities. The thing is, had Juan Lagares not lost Jose Martinez's fly ball in the sun, the Mets win the game, 3-2. Instead, Tommy Pham scored to tie the game. Paul Sewald ran out of gas in the 13th inning and the Mets eventually lose. February 28, 2018, Lake Buena Vista, FL, USA. New York Mets pitching coach Dave Island, left, and manager Mickey Callaway, right, point to get a laugh out of Atlanta Braves great Fred McGriff, not pictured during the first inning against the New York Mets at Champion Stadium. Mandatory credit, Reinhold Mate. USA Today Sports. Reinhold Mate. The Mets are 8-2 in games started by Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard. However, they are 7-5 in games started by the Steven Matz, Zach Wheeler and Matt Harvey. Harvey, who was 0-2 with a 6.00 as a starter, has since been sent to the bullpen. Harvey will be replaced in the rotation by Jason Vargas, who was signed to a 2-year deal this past winter with the sole purpose of being the team's reliable third starter. However, he chose to have surgery on his non-throwing hand in March after being struck by a line drive. Cadillac post-game extra 0 hours 1 minute and 51 seconds. Keith Hernandez and Gary Cohen discuss Noah Syndergaard's best outing of the season so far after Thursday's 4-3 loss to the Cardinals. For a full box score of the game, click here. Things you should know about today's game. 1. Dexter Fowler's RBI single in the bottom of the 13th inning plated the winning run and sent the Mets to another crushing loss, their third in a little more than a week. New York was an out away from winning in the 10th, but after retiring the first two batters, Jeurys Familia allowed an infield single and a game-tying double to Carlos Martinez on a ball that defensive replacement Juan Lagares seemed to misjudge. Familia was charged with his third blown save in 4 opportunities after converting 7 straight to begin the season. March 7, 2018, Port St. Lucie, FL, USA, New York Mets center fielder Juan Lagares, 12, makes a catch during a spring training game against the New York Yankees at First Data Field. Mandatory credit, Steve Mitchell, USA Today Sports. Steve Mitchell, with the runner on first base and 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th inning as the Mets were leading the Cardinals 3-2. Jose Martinez launched a deep fly ball to center field. Mickey Callaway set his outfield deep, but Juan Lagares still had to backtrack to the warning track. With an unconvincing leap, the ball floated over Lagares' glove and off the wall. By the time he picked up the ball, he had no chance at throwing out Tommy Pham, and the Cardinals tied the game. According to Lagares, throwing out Pham wasn't the only part of the play he had no chance at. Syndergaard on his performance. 0 hours 0 minutes and 50 seconds. Mets starter Noah Syndergaard and manager Mickey Callaway break down Syndergaard's performance in the Mets' extra inning loss on Thursday. Mets RHP Noah Syndergaard was largely dominant in 7.1 innings against the Cardinals on Thursday afternoon, but was done in by poor defense from his teammates in the 7th and 8th innings. With the Mets up 2-0 entering the bottom of the 7th inning, Yoenis Cespedes slid and had Tommy Pham's leadoff pop up in his tracks, but head did go off his glove for a double. Pham then came around to score on a bloop single to right field by Marcell Ozuna. Later in the 7th, Todd Frazier couldn't field a hot shot off the bat of Paul Bajang that extended the inning and led to Syndergaard's pitch count elevating even further. Murray, Andy Martino, SNY.TV, Twitter, Adrian Gonzalez is about to lose playing time at first base to Jay Bruce, but the Mets view the move as a way to create at-bats for Brandon Nimmo and Juan Lagares, and not as a condemnation of Gonzalez's performance. And while the front office expects to huddle during Monday's off day to discuss a wide range of issues, Gonzalez's roster spot is not in jeopardy. Even before the first baseman broke out of a 1-for-17 slump and drove in 5 runs on Sunday, Team Brass was reasonably happy with Gonzalez's peripheral statistics. Kathy Willens, AP, March 29, 2018, New York City, New York, USA. New York Mets second baseman Asdrubal Cabrera, 13, at bat against the St. Louis Cardinals during the 5th inning of the game on opening day at Citi Field. Mandatory credit, Gregory J. Fisher, USA Today Sports. Gregory Fisher, Mets 2B. Asdrubal Cabrera is in Thursday's lineup after missing Wednesday's game due to a right hamstring issue. He had left Tuesday night's game early due to the hamstring. His hammy was a little barking yesterday, so we decided to get him out of there, Callaway said about removing Cabrera from Tuesday night's game. I'm sure you guys can see, he wasn't moving around great during the game. Callaway removed Cabrera for pinch runner Jose Reyes in the 10th inning on Tuesday night. April 25, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA. New York Mets catcher Jose Lobaton, 59, talks with starting pitcher Steven Matz, 32, during the 3rd inning against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry, USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry, after Mets LHP Steven Matz struggled against the Cardinals in the Mets' 9-1 loss on Wednesday, Mets manager Mickey Callaway would not explicitly say whether the left-hander would make his next scheduled start. Callaway said he won't make any rash decisions, but will sit down with Matz and figure out exactly and how we can help him. April 21, 2018, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. New York Mets shortstop Asdrubal Cabrera, 13, mishandles a ground ball against the Atlanta Braves during the 6th inning at SunTrust Park. Mandatory credit, Adam Hagee, USA Today Sports. Adam Hagee, Mets SS. Asdrubal Cabrera was not in the lineup against the Cardinals on Wednesday due to a sore right hamstring, manager Mickey Callaway said. Cadillac post-game extra 0 hours 2 minutes and 0 seconds. Gary Cohen and Keith Hernandez discussed the uncertainty of the Mets' starting rotation after Wednesday's 9-1 loss to the Cardinals. For full box score of the game, click here. Things you should know about tonight's game. 1. Steven Matz pitched 2 hitless innings before unraveling in the third and fourth when he was charged with 7 runs, 3 earned, on 5 hits and 2 walks. Betrayed by poor defense behind him as well as his own error, the Cardinals scored 3 times in the third and 4 more in the fourth. Matz, 1-2, was removed after walking Dexter Fowler to force in a run on his 88th pitch. Frazier on inaugural season 0 hours 5 minutes and 6 seconds. Mets third baseman Todd Frazier sits down with Steve Jelbs to evaluate his inaugural season in a Mets uniform. April 24, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA, New York. Mets third baseman Todd Frazier, 21, celebrates with first baseman Adrian Gonzalez, 23, and teammates after scoring the game-tying run during the 8th inning against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry. USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry, BNNY. Harvey lashes out at media. 0 hours 6 minutes and 0 seconds. The Baseball Night in NY crew discusses Matt Harvey refusing to talk with the media after allowing the Cardinals to take a lead on Tuesday. Mets RHP Matt Harvey snapped at reporters prior to Wednesday's game against the Cardinals in St. Louis. He refused to speak after making his bullpen debut on Tuesday night. On Wednesday, he again refused to address his performance. Harvey laughed audibly when approached, according to Anthony DeComo of MLB.com, adding, "No chance. Zero chance," regarding whether he would comment on his bullpen debut. After Harvey was asked why not, he said he had nothing to say to you guys. When a reporter asked why he didn't want to speak, Harvey said, "I don't want to." Danny Abriano, SNY.TV, Twitter, "Come on, Matt. Really, it's one thing to leave the clubhouse without speaking to reporters, which is unprofessional enough. It's quite another to curse at reporters the next day for continuing to try to do their job. That borders on absurd." And Harvey, who said he was pissed off as soon as he was informed of his move to the bullpen, is now being disruptive to the rest of the team. New York Mets as Drupal Cabrera, 13, celebrates with teammates. AP, Mets 2B as Drupal Cabrera is not in Wednesday's lineup against the Cardinals due to a right hamstring issue, manager Mickey Callaway said, in noting that Cabrera has not had an MRI. Wilmer Flores is starting in Cabrera's place at second base. Timmy was a little barking yesterday, so we decided to get him out of there, Callaway said about removing Cabrera from Tuesday night's game. "I'm sure you guys can see, he wasn't moving around great during the game." St. Lucie Mets first baseman Peter Alonso connects for a 2-run double in the second inning against the Florida Fire Frogs at first data field. Jasen Vinlove-USA Today Sports. 23-year-old Mets 1B prospect Peter Alonso is off to a scorching start for Double-A Binghamton. Alonso, who played 11 games for Binghamton last season after playing 82 games for High A Street, Lucie, is hitting .357, .456, .625 with 3 HR, 6 doubles, and 10 RBI in 16 games, 56 at-bats. In his 3-year minor league career, Alonso has hit .303, .375, .548 with 26 HR in 139 games across 3 levels. While Dominic Smith is still ahead of Alonso on the depth chart, and hitting .246, .386, .439 with 2 HR and 16 games this season for AAA Las Vegas, Alonso should not be overlooked. April 24, 2018, St. Louis, Mo, USA, New York. Mets manager Mickey Callaway, 36, celebrates with right fielder Jay Bruce, 19, after the Mets defeated the St. Louis Cardinals in 10 innings at Busch Stadium. Mandatory credit, Jeff Curry. USA Today Sports. Jeff Curry, Tuesday night's 6-5 come-from-behind win against the Cardinals was so far my favorite game of the year. It helps that it occurred in St. Louis, which is always a bonus. The Mets have had more exciting finishes than this in 2018. However, their relentless